But okay, so let's move on to another contention. So Luka has been going early first round, but rankings are showing na malayo siya eh. Parang reach nga yung dating eh. So like
Para,
Reach.
sobrang
Reach
reach.
na reach. The worry,
be honest.
and then the worry I have with talking about Luka is baka bumaba eh. I wanted people to get him high.
Top 3 lagi, top 3, top 4 Luka.
Yeah. Yes.
Has always been top 3, top 4. So the rankings are showing he's second round lang. So for I would think based sa reaction ni Eric, it's a reach talaga. Luka top 3, top 4. But is he first round? Is he first round material? 11 to 14.
I think that's possible because we're seeing him growing every game that he plays.
Yes.
What he did in the playoffs was crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. Even the best player in the game, James Harden, has a drawback, and that's his turnovers. Right. Currently, Luka has 2 drawbacks. That's his turnovers plus his free throw.
Yes.
Okay. At some point, it won't matter so he'll be kind of like a Giannis in the sense that when Giannis was really hot and he was always top 5, even though he ended up falling in the top 15 because of his free throw. Now, Luka is still young, early enough in his career that he can still improve on it. And if he does, he's instantly top 5.
And
that's the only thing really holding him back.
He's a outside shooter. So faster siguro siya makaka-improve on the free throw than say Giannis.
Well, okay. Don't. I think that's a mistake just because you call him an outside shooter. It's all about the mechanics of how you shoot the basketball at the line. It's not so much. So because, for example, that was the issue of Markel Fultz.
Yeah.
When he busted
the shoulder.
It was mechanics that ruined his game, and it affected him psychologically so much so that he almost dropped out of basketball.
Yeah.
Right. So he had to fix it. It's shooting mechanics.
Yeah.
So.
But are you not worried about his about his defensive stats or the lack of defensive stats for Luka?
I mean,
do you think he's going to be able to?
I mean, he's not going to be a 2-steal guard if that's what you're talking about. But I don't mind if he just gives me 1 steal per game. That's good enough. But if he's going to give me 35 points, and almost triple-double, right? So, okay, the time that Russell Westbrook averaged the triple-double and won the MVP, he had his own, let's use the correct term, stat set issues, right?
Yes.
He had high turnovers, his
low
percentages weren't that great, and yet because of the sheer counting stats, yes, and when we're talking of the perspective of head-to-head, at some point, if you're going to punt free throw anyway, okay, if you look at it this way, filter out free throw or turnovers or both, where would Luka be? I mean, if you go back to the top, exactly. So if you go back to the topic that I'm going to come in and punt anyway, and that's my game plan, then I'll pick Luka early if my game plan is to punt free throw. Because I know I'm going to get maybe Drummond, Ben Simmons, and beat everyone, and it's over, right? So my build would be something like Luka, Drummond, Ben Simmons, later Lonzo Ball. Oh, good game.
Yeah.
Tapos
na. I'll dominate the counting stats. Bala na kayo sa percentages and the turnovers.
Yeah, then later. So your team is Luka, Ben Simmons, Drummond, maybe Lonzo. You can throw in Clint Capella just to lock those blocks since you don't care about free. I mean, just think about it. It's there. It fits. It's okay.
Yeah.
So if I have a plan and it's sound, it's solid, go ahead, go for it, right? And you think that you're gonna hit your targets for your build, but don't go it because I love him. He's really great. I mean, I'm a fan.
He's handsome.
His mom is hot or whatever. Right? So I mean, for those reasons, don't. But if you're gonna draft and you're gonna target a player, target him for a reason. And
Yes.
because your reason is you have a plan, and your plan will lead you to winning the game.
Actually, I think useless for us telling the listeners na picking Luka at the top 4 or 5 is too high. I think he'll still go there because of the fanfare that he gets and the hype that he gets. Especially early stages, there won't be any Kristaps in the lineup. So I think that's the one of the reasons as well kung bakit he's been being drafted so high. Ito, another player, Kyrie Irving. Is he first round material?
Okay.
Kyrie has been
Just to
dropping like in our league parang yung last draft natin
21.
lower pa
Lower, lower.
towards the end na of the second round. So in a
Yes, more or
14
less. But that's a steal. That's a very.
steal
It's
na
very
yun,
low.
no? At
So
that, ano.
I think that the market is pricing him good in terms of that they'll get good value. I mean, that's the correct play. He should ideally outperform that ADP, but it's better to get him there. Why
Yeah,
get him earlier if you can get him there?
yeah,
Don't mess with the market na. Get him na there.
yeah.
So
So yun naman yung
um
tip. If you know that he's dropping already, and alam mo na you
yeah,
have a
just
chance at
yeah,
a
well,
lower pick, kasi alam
yeah,
mo,
go for
no one
it.
would pick
Go for it there. Yeah.
no one would pick him eh. So
So
i-target, pwede mo nang i-target rin at the second
in
round.
to visualize it, if he's going late, you can technically pair him with the Carl Anthony Towns, and that's a solid guard center combo in
Yes.
sheer value, right?
Yeah.
So I'll take that. I'll take it. But do I want to go tipong Beal Kyrie early or Booker Kyrie? No, I don't. Right? I don't want to go early on Kyrie too much, knowing that he might fall that far.
I think yung player na nakakuha nun had Harden eh, kasi he had the first pick eh.
Oh, there you
Harden
go.
Kyrie.
Two solid guards.
Oo. So medyo
So,
maganda
so,
na rin.
so Eric, in that sense, are you more averse to injured players or players who come from injury? Like, you don't want to touch them. Like Kyrie, for instance. Kasi if it's not injured, I think he'll be easily in the top 15, right?
Yeah, but then the point is he's always injured. Now,
So, so
go ahead.
that factors into your.
Yes, in the sense
Okay.
that when we study stats, and you were just talking about quote unquote season rank because it's what they've established already.
Yes.
What a lot of the the average managers don't study, and they obviously focus so much on the stats. Me, I look at games played and I value that stat almost as important as any other of the statistical categories
Yeah.
because it shows how reliable a player is.
Yes.
And sadly, Kyrie Irving throughout the last 2 to 3 seasons has not been very dependable.
Kaya he's been
Okay,
dropping rin eh.
so I
Although when
would
he
pick him in
plays,
Roto.
yeah.
Yeah, Roto.
Okay,
Roto,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
but head to head, scary.
True.
Speaking of injured guys, Kevin Durant, what is
Yun yung
your
next na
feel, guys?
tatanungin ko.
What
Kevin
is
Durant
your
has
feel,
been
bro?
parang nag-first round. Actually nagugulat ako nag-first round si Kevin Durant with all
Hindi,
the
kasi if you're 14th, I guess if you're looking at it, parang hey, I might as well go for the player who might give me, home run in this 14th pick. Yun na ang only chance mo to get something back, value back from being the last pick. So I think that's why people are picking in 14. In our league, actually was picked 14th, as far as I know.
Um,
Yes.
it's a bit early for my threshold. Okay, um, when he first got injured, I watched some videos and read some articles about some quote unquote so some medical experts saying that when he comes back, he won't be the same. He's not gonna be able to play at the same level that he did before.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so personally, but then you'll be surprised because of the wonders of modern medicine, and you can never underestimate how a player can really bounce back. And you've seen,
yeah.
Zach Levine from torn ACL come back and still a high flyer and top five scorer, etc., etc. Um, the thing is, he's old. He's older than the average injured guy. The average guy coming back from injury. and the knees have had their long history of issues also. I would prefer to take him somewhere middle of the second round if I could. But I'm not entertaining him in short in the first round for me.
Wala. First. Actually, a surprise ako is going first round. Minsan, in some of the mock drafts early pa, mga 9th or 10th, which for me is too high, too risky.
Yes, for me, top 10 is out of the question talaga.
But do you pick KD or Paul George?
Paul George.
Paul George also.
Paul George pa rin because of the injury risk.
Yeah.
But best case scenario for Durant, do you think kaya niya to get back to the old Durant level or hindi na rin talaga?
Probably not. I don't know. I don't think he's gonna be the top 1, 2, 3 kind of guy like he was before.
Mm-hmm.
But seeing him on per game, we're looking at a good case scenario here. He can give you top 10 quality stats, and that's
per game.
And that's very per game. Huh? Even totals actually, it's very possible because his game is not an inside game. He does a lot of medium range and long range shooting, and he shoots at crazy accuracy.
Yeah,
he was in his prime, hands down, the best offensive player in the world over anyone else. No one was close. Okay, so in his prime, he was just that much better than everyone else, and his kind of game, as long as he does not go risk contact too much or risk, and if he tweaks his game well enough, he could still be very deadly. And he will play in such a way to protect that. And I think Steve Nash has that in mind because the Nets see themselves as a playoff team. And they're going to try to get their wins and to get to that spot. And if it means tweaking Durant's game to optimize that, they're going to do it. And he's going to do it.
Yeah, and the other part of it as well is since they know that they can be a playoff team and a really good playoff team, baka they will preserve Durant, especially at the early parts of the season, and medyo in yung playing time niya won't be as good. Pero
it will be monitored. It will be monitored for
Pero
sure.
a good thing about Durant is that he doesn't hurt you in any stats. Maybe other than turnovers lang siguro, but he doesn't
not even. I mean, he was the ultimate in no drawbacks. And that's what made him so special back in the day.
Yeah.
He was great at everything and literally bad at nothing. I think his turnovers were only like 2 point something back when even in his, the height of his and even
OKC.
Okay, he was right. So he'll give you 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 30 points, good field goal, free throw, 3.5 threes per game. Everything.
When he was in Golden State, he even gave you good number of blocks, medyo close to the elite level.
Yes.
So
that was the time that he tweaked his game to match the defensive mindset of the culture of the team.
Yes. So I think pero yun, first round might be too high for Durant. Second round, if late second round, medyo baka good value pick na yun.
Good value. Very good value.
Parang Kyrie ang tingin ko dyan. Similar ang tingin ko sa kanilang dalawa. I prefer to have them late, mid-second, pwede. So it depends on who's available, really. But in the second, I've noticed I picked late in one, so I got Bam Adebayo early, and he's Bam. So
were you scared about his usage in the playoffs that he played long into the season? Si Bam.
Bata pa si Bam he's 23.
I mean, Jimmy Butler was being dropped because of that reason, di ba?
Well, yeah, fine, but I'm not too worried. I don't think that. First of all, Butler's the older guy, and he is literally, because if there was anyone who looked gassed, Butler also looked gassed, and going one-on-one, toe-to-toe with LeBron will do that to you. I don't care. who you are, and it was a well-deserved fatigue because he played really some amazing basketball,
Yeah.
and
True.
he will really need to be rested. So, Bam is young; he'll recover faster because of the youth. I mean, I think the age gap between the two is like 8 years, maybe nine pa nga eh. So,
Mm.
something like that.
Yeah.
7 years, okay? But, that's a lot of time, that age gap. So, I'm not too worried about Bam. And in fact, Bam, who made the big jump last season, right? I don't think he's not done improving his game.
Yeah.
He's the kind of guy who's really such a hard worker. He came from a poor start in his life. He's learned to grind and work hard for everything he's earned.
Mm.
So I think he'll
So,
play. He'll play really hard.
maganda yung potential ni Bam because yung mechanics rin niya. Like you said, the mechanics of his shooting are good. He can extend the range.
So among the young bigs, like they're being picked at that position si Collins, si Bam, si Aiton. These are the three young ones that are being interchanged mostly in the
Si
draft.
Collins is projected na sa first round.
Ako kasi personally, I am really very high on John Collins, but because of Atlanta's off season, I'm sort of more in the Aiton camp right now. So for you, it's Bam among the three of them.
No, Collins.
Oh,
Collins
okay.
talaga.
Yeah.
Ako, I'm really very high on Collins kasi before.
Pero first round?
Like, I was.
Okay. To be fair and in transparency to our readers, listeners, again, I did this draft before free agency.
Okay,
So I was late pick in a 16 team. My combo was John Collins, Bam Adebayo. Oh, nice. The two center league na
Very
16 team.
Ganda na nun.
I have my countings, I have my percentages, I have my rebounds. Okay. Now let's address the elephant in the room, which is the stackness of Atlanta or the okay. Gallinari is coming off the bench as the backup of Collins. Everyone. So don't worry. He is there as a veteran presence to have quality offense if John Collins rests. He's not a real threat to the minutes. And another thing why I am not as afraid, assuming they don't trade Collins, okay? Assuming they keep Collins, and I watched videos, and that's one thing I've done more now that ever since I joined Hoopball and became an editor, I watch a lot more videos in my research, not just look at the stats. A lot of the highlights of John Collins, those great slams, is part of the pick and roll with Trae Young.
Yeah.
And that combo of theirs, that's not going to change. Just because, they're still the 1-2. In the end, everybody is there to support them, to support that duo in carrying the team. I think if I was the coach, and obviously that's probably the smarter play, they're your two best players.
They're
So
the
why will
foundation.
they're your foundation. So why screw your best chances of winning are letting those two players shine.
Yeah.
So I'm not that worried about Collins.
But how about Capella?
Really?
How about his effect? Because they haven't played together, I think. Si Collins and
No,
Capella.
they haven't.
So aside from Gallinari, don't you think the Capella will maybe get some of the pick and roll plays?
No, not the pick and roll, because Capella is not a pick and roll kind of big man.
Oh, yeah.
Or
he's
might
more of
will he clog the lane? Pero hindi naman siguro nila gagawin yun eh. I mean, Atlanta would not create a strategy na clog the lane.
In an interview, John Collins said when commenting about Clint Capella, he obviously, because it's the correct thing to say, he complimented the guy. I'm happy to have him. But even if Clint is there, I will move. I now, since I can, move farther away from the basket. So what you can expect is lower rebounds, higher threes. Yeah. John Collins will shoot more threes. And if his threes go to 2 point something and he's still shooting at 50-something field goal, that's crazy. Yes. Even if his rebounds go down to 8 point something, right? Wouldn't you take that?
Yes.
Okay, the blocks might suffer because his blocks have been fluctuating throughout his career, and we will see that might go down from, I think he was at like 1.6 or 1.5. That might
Mm.
go down to 1.1, 1.2. But I'll take that if his efficiency is still good. Because even though, let's say, poorer shooting accuracy farther, he still has those pick and roll plays that give him the high field goal, and that's the bread and butter of how, because he's so fast and his hops are so good. When he spins, it's over. He already beat the guy, right?
Yeah.
And that's
Mm.
why it's almost sure dunk when he does the pick and roll with Trey. So again, that combo is just so. It's like, would you mess with Stockton and Malone back in the day? No matter what,
Yeah,
how
yeah.
you. I mean,
True.
if it ain't broke, why fix it? So
Yeah.
they're not. I don't. I'm not. Hindi nila guguluhin yan. They're not gonna mix sira what's good.
Saka it's not just about one player. Like, it's not just about John Collins. Eh. Like you said, the combo of John Collins and Bam is already a good, really good combo to be a foundation ng team. Eh. So,
Bigs.
yeah, yung good bigs na siya. So, wait, eto, may mga question dito. Since a while ago, we talked about Kyrie and KD. So, one question from Smooth J. Which among the core of the New Jersey Nets would have good fantasy value? Aside from
Brooklyn Nets.
Kyrie and, the Brooklyn Nets would have good fantasy value aside from Kyrie and KD. Among Jarrett Allen, Dinwiddie, Levert, and Joe Harris. Di ba Levert
Okay.
naman? Obviously, parang,
Um, okay. The problem with Levert is because his breakout came at
The
the
bubble.
data collected on his breakout was without the two.
Yes.
yeah.
So it's really,
Yes.
I can't predict him to produce the same. Eh. It's
Yeah.
really malabo because what's gonna happen is Kyrie, KD, that's gonna be your Trey John
Trey John
Collins. They're your
Collins.
1-2. Yeah, it's not gonna. So I really would prefer to still pick Levert late and hope na lang that he exceeds the value with which, based on where I got him.
Pero like,
Now,
would Allen
mm,
be good beneficiary to or complement to Kyrie and KD, or si DeAndre ang mas
all
magpe-perform
right.
dun?
So,
Yun yung big three eh.
in
DeAndre, Kyrie, and KD.
all right. My I have this little quote unquote trash talking back and forth with my commissioner in one of the leagues because we're in two leagues together. Both times he picked Jarrett Allen. I go, I DM'd him. I messaged him, dude. Why so early on Jarrett Allen? He goes, breakout season yan.
Okay.
I go, why? Sabi ko, no, hindi. There's the Andre Jordan pa rin. And I mean, I have my reasons, and I go, I'll discuss it later. Our back and forth stopped because it was a slow draft offline over group chat, and I go, I'll discuss it later. I'll tell you why. He goes, okay. Um, I think Jarrett Allen has room for growth, yes, uh, but I feel that when it comes to the games, I think it will be DeAndre Jordan who will be closing out close games. That will hurt Jarrett Allen. And on the flip side, from the Brooklyn Nets perspective, they're going to preserve DeAndre Jordan as much as possible for the playoffs. He's athletic, big man, but because of age, athleticism goes down really fast.
Mm.
So you don't want him hurting his knees, getting sore this, sore that, and that tends to be the problem. So yes, you're gonna see a lot of Jarrett Allen, but in close games, it's gonna be DeAndre Jordan making sure that the rebound that they get the rebound. Okay, the issue, and this has been a clear complaint anywhere you read it on Twitter or wherever. Jarrett Allen is soft, right?
Yes.
He's considered soft in the sense that when Joel Embiid just makes him look like a little girl when they're matched up. He's like bully. I mean, no offense to little girls, but you know what I
Yes.
mean.
Yes.
He really makes him look like a fool. It's like the coach will just sit him na lang and then go, hey, Prince, you guard Embiid. You're better at guarding Embiid than Jarrett Allen.
Yeah.
That's how bad Jarrett Allen is when he's matched up against a superior big man or a more athletic, more powerful big man.
And
Now
he's
that's
not
where
the
DeAndre.
best offensive player as well. Hindi rin siya yung...
Saka didn't they fire their coach because they wanted DeAndre to play?
Oh, there you go. So okay, now we have new coach. I think that's in the end just trying to analyze the basis of my friend's insight or what he thinks is his insight. Is he thinks that um, Jarrett Allen will be, because of Steve Nash in the system, we're probably visualizing an old Phoenix Suns. So it's going to be a really
Amari role.
Maybe not, because Amari will be. No, KD will be your Amari.
Okay,
right?
yeah.
He will be your. He will perform, but
he'll be the Sean Marion.
Nash, well, no, not even. He will be your Oliver Miller in the sense that shut up and rebound. No, just do your job, rebound, and don't think about anything else.
Yeah.
And make sure you can run. Okay, that's the danger and drawback of DeAndre Jordan. We expect that the Steve Nash pace, especially after hiring D'Antoni as an assistant, they're gonna run.
Yeah.
They're gonna the pace. Okay. Fearless forecast. The Brooklyn Nets will lead the league in pace this season. They're gonna go for as many possessions as possible. Basta run, shoot.
Yeah.
Run, shoot. They're gonna try to do, just score.
They have the offensive weapons to do that. With Kyrie, KD, Levert, Dinwiddie.
Pero Eric, just to ask, how early was that pick that you said your commissioner picked Jarrett Allen?
I'm sorry, I can't.
Maybe top 100.
Yeah. No, earlier.
Oh,
70s.
Okay. Oh, that's really early.
He really thinks highly of Jarrett Allen.
Every year naman parang last year ganun din, pero sobrang disappointment.
Yes. Okay. My point is this. Beyond the change in coaching, I do not foresee a catalyst that will trigger a turnaround or a breakout.
Yeah.
Yes.
Pretty much the center position is the same as last year.
No, he will get a lot of minutes in the sense that I believe he can run a lot better than DeAndre Jordan nowadays.
Yeah.
So that's okay. And that's the plan. Because in the end, those two guys, their only jobs are to rebound and block, nothing else. That's it. Because everything else will be handled by the rest of the guys.
Yeah.
So there.
All right, sige. Let's go to a couple of sleepers that every manager should put their eye on. Ako very high ako on Jeremy Grant.
Kasi ka-name mo.
Okay.
Hindi, pero feeling ko sa Detroit wala nang ibang player eh. Like I don't see anyone doing much sa Detroit other than maybe Blake who's old. So
ako naman, I have Marcus Smart, actually, one of my favorite picks. Kasi right now he's in the 90s eh. I mean, sa McCraft
Kemba is not gonna start the season. So he's not. So none of the with all due respect, none of those are sleepers in the sense that everybody is high on Jeremy Grant. Everybody is high on Marcus Smart.
True.
And if I will delay, I'll give you one or two, but to just give a little bit of insight to the listeners, don't get too obsessed with sleepers. If you look at it, what does it mean that a player is a sleeper? That you are sure that he is good, but that most of the people don't think he's good, and therefore you're gonna get him late.
Yes.
And okay.
Yeah.
But what makes you? And the point is, you think he's good. Chances are a lot of people will also think he's good.
Yeah.
So it's very. Don't get too obsessed. Okay. How many times every time that you think you're picking your sleeper, the comment in the live online draft room, shit, nakuha, blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
Alright? So because everybody had their eye on him. But the difference was you picked him sooner than everyone else.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? So, because that's the tendency, you're eating up in the value gain that you're supposedly getting.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, Whether it's early round or last round or whatever, it's about getting more value than when you pick the guy. Regardless, it's
Mm.
not about kasi okay. There are times that you can get huge value from a player who dropped to you for some weird reason in my 16 teamer because people were reaching for their quote unquote pet
Sleepers.
picks. Like I have this idiot league mate who goes Kobe White top 50. Oh, mga ganon. So diba? So feeling niya ganon. So reach
Oh,
siya. So much so that somebody like CJ McCollum fell in the 70s.
it's very
So
low.
so
Grabe,
for
70s.
oh, he's not gonna be 70, right? So, parang
Oh.
sleeper mo na rin yan kung nakuha mo sa 70.
Oo.
In our league, Kyle Lowry actually went 54.
Oh, see, he's not gonna be 54.
Yeah, he went really low. He went really low.
So just to put it in perspective for our listeners, getting Kyle Lowry at 54 or CJ McCollum at 70 something is as quality as getting your quote unquote sleeper at your
Kumbaga,
top 50 guy. Yes, because
kumbaga,
it's the
getting Kyle
same.
Lowry at 54 is way better than getting Jeremy Grant at 54.
No, you're getting Jeremy Grant at 54 is a bad move because wala
Kaya
ka
nga.
ng value there.
Hindi, kaya nga.
Shoot ka
Baka
na.
kasi, di ba,
Mag-Lowry ka. So,
they,
mag-Lowry ka.
they,
Kasi, yeah. The plan is to get Jeremy later, as late as you
yeah.
can. Because you know that he's going to do well. But as far as somebody who is not highlighted so much, but he's actually popular in the group chat of one of my leagues because the focus is on Jeremy Grant. I think DeLon Wright is going to do well in Detroit. DeLon Wright
ano
is
nga,
going to be a quality.
DeLon Wright has been hyped every year. Yun yung challenge kay DeLon Wright eh. Parang every year, he's gonna do...
Si Jeremy hates DeLon Wright eh.
Kasi every year,
just for
si DeLon Wright.
just for
Okay. DeLon Wright single-handedly lost me a championship. I was a team that was top seed in coming into the playoffs. Then I got by, etc. I was top seed by 20 games ahead of the next guy. 20 wins ahead. That's how far I was making slaughtering my league. The guy that I faced in the finals picked up DeLon Wright. And those 4 games where he did those 20 plus points, kopong, was enough to beat my super team.
Pero throughout the season, he doesn't... Ayaw ko lang. Of course, syempre, it's a different situation.
Yeah, okay,
right
all right.
now.
I mean,
But,
I'm not okay. To be fair, I'm not expect. He's a good player. I mean, let's just lay it out. He's a good player, but he needs his minutes.
yeah.
And so far, the last few times, and that's where you've been getting disappointed, he's found himself in a situation where he hasn't gotten good minutes. And of course, you're not going to get good minutes playing playing behind Luka Doncic, right?
Yeah.
But who's he playing behind now? What? Derrick Rose, who probably will be lucky to play 50 games, yeah. Or more likely than not, will even be traded by the Pistons since they're rebuilding.
Yes.
Then bigla na lang DeLon Wright time. Hala.
Ayan na. Aabang ko yung DeLon Wright. Ito, tatry ko i-pick DeLon Wright if you mess with me again.
No, I mean, pick him late. So, okay.
Pick him late. Yes.
If you mess with me again, nasa ano ka na, Alex Len list ka na do not pick ever.
That's the fun of it. He is safe so much so that you pick him so late, you can drop him. If
that's
it
true.
does not pan out.
Yeah.
Pero I will tell you this now. There will be this season because of the pandemic, because of the changes in the NBA right now that's ongoing. We will see a lot of volatility. There will be a lot of adds and drops. So the bane of a lot of managers this year will be the moves limit settings in the league, if ever there are leagues that have them. So even if you throw DeLon Wright, at some point he will be worth picking up.
At some point in the
so he
season.
He is somebody who I liked. And okay, here is the hottest. I was last pick in that league I mentioned. that drafted early, right?
Yeah.
Then we drafted before free agency. So I had top waiver value,
Labo nun eh.
right? So, eksakto, number one waiver ako. I burned my waiver by the time that free agency in the app opened. Guess who my pickup was? Kasi at the time, akala ko nasa Suns pa siya. Now, Raptors na si Aaron Baines. I
Aaron
burned
Baines.
my
Yeah,
waiver.
yan, Aaron Baines.
Ano, parang no-brainer. I think he'll do well because wala nang big men talaga yung...
Yeah.
Yeah.
And don't give me Alex Len. I'm sorry. That is not a valid...
Well,
Let's not go there.
in our previous episodes, he's in our do not ever pick list. Never pick list na si Alex Len because always promising pero never really performed. All right,
Best
so
streamer.
quick lang. If you there are a couple of questions lang. New York, who's the best fantasy option in New York? Is it RJ Barrett? Julius Randle?
No
or
one.
nobody?
Mitchell.
Mitchell Robinson. I'm sorry. Yeah, because
Yeah, Mitchell.
despite being given very limited minutes, his per game, he's a per 36-minute monster still. Take note. Given the right opportunity, he can still break out. So I've been seeing him get picked in the fourth, third round, depending on how deep the league is. He's still a very popular pickup.
Actually, he's actually pick at the correct position now, right? I mean, compared to the previous years.
Because people got burned. They were picking him, but they were reaching for him early
Yes.
third back last year, right? Which
Guilty.
they go, damn.
Second
Guilty.
round, diba?
I mean, he burned Brewski in the sense that in the 30 deep, Brewski picked him in the second round.
Yun,
So,
no,
buti na
marami
lang
second
yan.
round eh.
Yeah, no, that was 30 deep. So
Kaya na.
don't skewed. Medyo skewed na yung ano. Pero my point is he burned a lot of managers last year. So
Yes.
I think that the expectations now are more matching as far as they're more fair.
He's still second round value into sa rankings. Is he worth that second round pick?
No, don't. You know that he won't get. The tendency is he is getting picked late third, early fourth,
Yeah.
which is about fair,
Okay.
I think, because the upside there is the assumption is that Thibodeau is a defensive coach and he values defense,
Good.
and the expectation is Robinson is a defensive player, so it's a good match. But, and this is where I question the upside thinking of people, Thibodeau is also a coach who is known to doghouse certain players if they don't perform well.
Yes.
Oh my God, the Bulls before, when he was with the Bulls, if he just didn't like how you're playing, he'll leave you out of the rotation for like 2 weeks.
Yes.
Then suddenly you have to drop a guy, right? So I
Kumbaga,
don't think it'll be that bad in Robinson's case. But if Robinson keeps on doing the stupid fouls, he will lose minutes talaga more than the allotted to teach him a lesson until he learns to play better.
Yeah.
Thibodeau will not. The thing about Thibodeau is he's gonna play as if he's competing for a playoff, even though they don't stand a chance.
Yeah.
So he's gonna try to play to the best. And if you're not playing that well, he'll sit you. He doesn't care who you are.
Basta you're playing the way he wants you to play, you'll get the minutes. Yun yung okay.
Yeah.
He won't do load management or any of those things to any of the players. Plus, New York doesn't need load management naman. So, okay, ito. Another question from Bert. Blake Griffin, Drummond, K-Love, and Porzingis, are they worth drafting? Well, siguro Drummond and K-Love malamang naman madadraft. Pero like a player like Blake Griffin.
I think as si Eric said, depends on the position that they'll be available and where you would draft them.
Which value or anong value?
I would say Blake Griffin this year might be draftable considering he's dropping for the first time since we've started. It's been overdrafted every year kasi Blake Griffin because of name value. But this year, people, I think, nagsawa nata sa kanya. So, he's in the 80s. In the 80s. With Kevin Love also. Both of them are in the 80s. So, I think there's Ewan ko, for me, I think there's value in there already. Maybe just one of the two, but it's
Right.
possible.
If you're talking 80s, I take Love
Oh, yeah.
in the 80s. No problem. No brainer. Yeah. Blake, I really don't trust the knees. So I'd prefer him to pick him much later. Late 90s, even in the hundreds, if he falls that far, sure. But
Okay.
parang, I don't know there are if I'm choosing between um, picking a somebody like that, I'd rather go for like Serge Ibaka. If I'm choosing between Blake Griffin, Serge Ibaka, I'll take Serge Ibaka, obviously.
Ang daming
Even though
question mark with Blake Griffin eh. The knees, if he's still gonna be there in Detroit.
just put him on my do not draft list
Oh,
too.
yun.
The same with Bede.
Stay away
Yeah,
from
yeah.
Blake Griffin.
Pero si Kevin
I'm
Love,
not
you will be happy with him at the 80s.
80s, yeah. I mean, he has a top 50 upside pa rin, I think. Because he shoots threes. He won't clog the paint with Drummond.
Okay.
Diba? Think
Yeah.
about
Yes.
it. So he's gonna stay outside, and that's what he prefers. I mean, the reason why Kevin Love used to get so many rebounds is because he's a smart player,
Yeah.
not because he's physically gifted. He's an intelligent basketball player, and he knows boxing out strategy. But if you have Drummond, who on sheer athleticism and hops and strength, etc., can grab the ball, Kevin Love doesn't. So Kevin Love's boards will suffer, but he's gonna shoot a lot more threes.
Do you like him more than Larry Nance, though?
Ah, I'm sorry, I have a crush on Larry Nance's game so much.
Same,
I have
same tayo.
I get burned every time because
Yes.
I have this love affair with this
Last year, I got
1.5
burned by
steal.
Larry Nance.
Same. I did also, but to be fair, there's something about 1.5 steal. Because outside of Drummond, how many center eligible players had 1.5 steals? Diba? It's just him and Nance really who can flirt with those numbers as far as
Yeah.
steals go. But sadly, unless they offload Drummond, I mean, with Nance is he needs minutes. Without minutes, I can't
Wala,
really
yeah.
be high on him.
And be healthy kasi last year he had
But
some
I think they're
injury
playing him
problems.
small forward also sometimes. A little, maybe.
Okay,
I'm
the
I'm
problem
hoping.
is, dude, Isaac Okoro. They should play
Yeah.
Isaac Okoro. It's because Isaac Okoro, based on the draft scouting, is supposedly the best perimeter defender in the draft class. And
Yes.
again, watching video, oh my God, the guy is so fast, so athletic, so powerful. He has an NBA ready body. He's very buff, he attacks the
Mm.
basket with strength. His only drawback really is that he has bad free throw shooting. But he can shoot threes and he's a solid defender. Now, whether or not that defense will translate to steals and blocks is the big question. But the upside is there because he's really talented. I mean, because um, priority studying the players, the game the NBA basketball has evolved right ever since that the Golden State Warriors during their dynasty changed the game into a
Small, yeah,
positionless, yeah,
positionless basketball.
positionless game where everyone should know how to shoot the three and pass the ball and basically do everything. So the value of 3 and D players is at an all-time high.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
on that basis, it is a good idea for the Cleveland Cavaliers to develop um, Isaac Okoro as soon as possible. And I'm hoping for the best because Chedi Osman is in my do not draft list and I really hate him. I really, I once I picked him up once
Ako rin.
and in a deep league, and I
2 years
regret.
ago
I go,
yata
oh
yun.
God, I go, oh God, what did I
think-
do? I'm
I think-
stupid.
That was 2 years ago.
Yeah, yeah,
We-
something like that. It was.
Ito, final na. Among the rookies, is it Lamelo talaga the most draftable player or Wiseman
No.
or other player? Sa rookies ngayon, parang Wiseman and
Ako-
Lamelo are the ones going high.
For me, I drafted Tyrese Haliburton. And I don't know, I have a good feeling about him. He's not that risky for me. He'll gonna get minutes because nawala si Bogdan. He's gonna be the main bench guard for the Kings. And his game, I've watched his game since college. It's very solid eh. Doesn't do too much. Pero yun, he has a good
Efficient.
fantasy. Yeah, efficient there. So I'm going with Tyrese. How about you,
Okay.
Eric?
Uh, One of my faults, and just to be honest with the listeners, I have, like everyone, I have my biases. I have my pets, my favorite, my
Favorite?
favorites,
Yeah.
crushes, and I have this huge crush, right or wrong. Sometimes it's wrong, obviously, but right now I have a huge crush on Weissman. I own Weissman in all my leagues, so I have.
Ah,
Um, I think it was unfair to judge him on the fact that he just played 3 games.
3 games, yeah.
My point is, you cannot teach height and length. He was born with that.
Yeah.
He has the height and the length, and he can run crazy. He runs like a small forward. Okay, I mean, I can sit here and talk and sell him, and but unfortunately, in the latest Weissman blurb from Roto World, I think that Steve Kerr was interviewed, etc. He was commenting about the 3 games, and minutes might be split with Marquise Chris and even Kevin
Yes.
Looney, etc., etc. So yeah, I probably drafted, to be fair, Weissman a bit too early. But as far as
What's a bit too
maybe
early?
post,
Like what round yan?
I in 2 leagues I got him somewhere 90s.
Mm.
Oh, okay.
90s
Early.
was where I got him. That's early, but I don't know. I think that ah, here is my my hopeful fearless forecast. 3 years from now, James Weissman will be ranked higher than Zion Williamson.
three
Wow.
3 years.
Hindi ako, I would believe that kasi hindi ako high on Zion. Eh.
No, but
Yes,
the
me
hype
too.
is opposite. Zion came with so much hype, but then
Yeah.
everybody's down on
And
Williams. Oh, personally, from his point of view, he wants to pattern his game after Chris Bosh. But
Mm-hmm.
physically, he has the tools to play like David Robinson. So, oh my God, David Robinson is like a top, a first rounder. So
Mm.
if somehow he plays like a Chris Bosh who can give you 20, 10, 2 blocks and shoot threes. Okay, even 1.5 threes per game, 2 blocks. Eventually, if he grows into that, and it's all potential, and there's been knocks about his focus, etc., etc. But we will see. I think that the raw materials are there
yeah.
for a great player potentially. Now we will see how he grows. And
Yes.
I like the fantasy friendliness of his game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tsaka, yun, I think of all the rookies yata, parang body-wise and built-wise, he's one of the most NBA ready in terms of yung build eh. So, hindi ko lang
Hmm.
alam.
To be fair, marami sila. Weissman is very good. Onyeka Okongwu, if he didn't go to the Hawks and went somewhere else, was very NBA ready. I mean, you must have read that he's being compared to Bama Debayo because their their height and wingspan are very similar.
Yeah.
So he's very NBA ready also. Okoro, I mentioned, is NBA ready. There are several actually. It's just that very flat. The draft was very flat
Yeah.
as far as value. So you don't know. It's very hard to guess this season who's gonna emerge as a superstar, but someone will. For example,
Yes.
Devin Booker, when he was drafted, you weren't high on Devin Booker in his rookie season. Then
Mm.
suddenly he woke up and he was just meant to be a great NBA player from the get
Yes.
go. And he surprised everyone. Okay, no one, absolutely no one was high on PJ Washington coming
Last
into the
year. Last
season
year.
last year,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
But he worked hard in training camp, worked hard in summer league, worked hard in preseason, and earned and won the starting job.
Yeah.
So even though there's so much doubt surrounding Weissman, if he works hard, he will earn that starting job. I think because
Mm-mm.
Yeah, especially sa Golden State, there's really not much center that has, hindi
Potential.
Kevon Looney, we know already. Chris, we know already. Parang hindi, yung potential niya most likely would be higher than those guys. So the
to
opportunity.
be fair, yeah, and I'd like to apologize to the Warriors fans out there, and as a former Warriors fan myself, um, the the Warriors, even though they'd like to think of themselves as a win now team, they're not gonna win now.
Yeah.
I mean, they can't. Using Clay was just too crippling. It was just too much. Even though you got Kelly Oubre, it's not the same.
This is pretty much basically the team that was similar to last year with Steph back, or a little improvement, or a lot of improvement from last year, pero still not really the type that might be able to compete with the Lakers or the Clippers or the top teams of the West. Kaya, but playoff siguro kaya 7th, 8th, pero not really win.
7th, 8th, tapos matatapat ka sa Lakers.
Yeah, wala.
4-0 ka rin right? My fearless forecast is that the Lakers will lose maybe one game in the playoffs. The whole playoffs. On their way to the championship, and that's it.
Yeah, wala na. The Clippers, after seeing what I saw dun sa mga comments and mga articles over the past couple of days, parang malabo talaga. They will never win a title with that type of mentality. Anyway, so nakaabot tayo 2 hours. Eric, I'm sorry you told me na 1.5 hour ka lang, but we're almost 2 hours in. As you said, sobrang the conversation and the discussion.
I'm sorry to take up your time. Yeah.
No, it's okay.
It's okay with us.
Nahiya nga ako sa nahiya nga kasi because you mentioned 1 to 1.5 hour. Nahiya ako sa you mentioned trying to fit yung sinabi mo sa akin to 1.5 hour, but super thank you.
I made time. I told my wife, go to sleep early. I'll be talking fantasy. I have a show with some friends. We're gonna talk fantasy. Matulog ka na.
You're the boss.
Sobrang thank you. There's a lot, ang daming insights that we got that maybe yung enthusiast lang would not really think about, diba? Like yung mga sinasabi ni Eric about, don't worry about the position, get the value. Diba? Sometimes we overthink na kailangan natin i-fill out yung mga positions. Tips like those, malaking bagay.
Especially the sleepers.
Yung sleepers. Don't be too high on sleepers. Diba?
That's a very, very
overrated pa lang ang mga sleepers, diba? So, I think...
No, they wouldn't be sleepers.
Overrated yung term.
Parang... Hindi, tsaka parang...
Don't get obsessed.
Don't get obsessed. Yung tamang term.
Yes.
And sometimes yung sleeper, makikita na lang rin natin yan in hindsight. Na, itong player na to was sleeper. Kasi no one really thought of drafting that player, di ba? Tapos biglang...
That's the true sleeper.
Yan, di ba? So, yung mga tipong PJ Washington last year or mga Devontae...
Duncan Robinson.
Duncan Robinson, yung mga ganyan. Na parang
that was the sleeper.
Yun ang sleeper.
The truest sleeper, to be fair to everyone last season, was Devontae Graham.
Yeah, Devontae.
Yes, Devontae.
I think no one.
Yes.
Okay? No, if you told me you drafted him, you're lying.
Wasn't even in anyone's radar. Parang wala talaga.
Yes.
Not even. Okay.
Not even a watch list.
Yeah. Wala. And bigla na lang, baboom.
Yeah.
Diba? Wow. Parang poor man's Trae Young. I mean, that's a bit generous, but poor man's Trae Young, diba?
Yeah.
So
yun. So thanks. Thank you, Eric. We hope we can do this again in the mid-season. Baka pwede nating ma-invite. I know you're busy, man, but I hope we can make time again and discuss more fantasy.
Yeah, we really enjoyed it.
Break, and we can discuss who looks good after the All-Star break.
Yeah. Yun, sige. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you were able to pick up some tips here before the draft starts. December 8 sa Yahoo. Mag-start yung mga drafts, at least the online ones. So this would be a perfect time to listen in and get some tips as well. So thank you for listening, for watching, and we hope to see you on the next episode of Fantasy Benchwarmers. Goodbye, guys.